Welcome back to the show. Now, every Nigerian has something to complain about the economy, regardless of your class. It's a problem that everyone is feeling, and we are going to be trying to get some understanding, especially for salary earners at a time like this where inflation is biting harder than ever. I have you with me, Shola Adeshakin. Thanks for being here today.
I'm glad to be here.
So my first question, of course, is, is the salary ever going to be enough? We've lived through a country where there's the constant need for more money. We know our minimum wage is a pittance by many standards, but inflation has done even worse now. In the last year, the Naira has become almost a mess, but there's been no salary increments anywhere. How are people supposed to cope in a time like this?
All right, so I tell people that expenses are multiple in nature. Now, so if you rely on just one source of income, you're doing yourself a disadvantage. So you pay rent, you pay school fees, you pay for internet, you pay for cable, and all of those things. So one source going into different income, expense streams. So I tell people, you'll do yourself an advantage by getting an additional source of income. Now, it's easier to say because, you're like, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, I've got time on my hands. So salary earners would say, you tell us to do more, how? Now, the first question is, are you satisfied with your current source in meeting your needs? Are your needs well catered for? Do you feel exasperated at the end of the month when you have to pay your bills? So you've got to sort of augment your salary. Use your free time, monetize your hobbies. Now, before now, when we say those things, people will be like, no, it really doesn't matter. But you haven't enjoyed a salary increase. Inflation, Ebuka, they tell us inflation is 19.6. But for example, I bought a pack of pasta last year, 220. This week, I bought it at 450. That's like 100%. I didn't even realize it had gone as high as that. So, to be factual, inflation is not 19%. Yeah. Inflation is like 100%,
especially
100%.
Food inflation.
In some cases. So, I'll tell salary earners, you've got to look inward. You've got to see how you can spend your spare time making more money. These days you hear about many remote things that you can do. This is not the time where you'll say, I don't have time, weekend is for rest. I know you need to rest, but hey, you've got to think about it. And I like to talk about the Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. It's a very good book that everybody should read. In a time like this, you earn money as a salary earner, you earn money as a self-employed person. That means you monetize your gift, you monetize your talent, and then you can sort of go into a business. Right? Business means you own systems, partnerships, collaborations, and then you can earn money from investments. So being a salary earner would not do because it won't give you control. It won't even give you security. There are so many things, demanding for your money. The system is designed to take from you. Nobody's going to think the way out for you. So you've got to think about it yourself and consider how you can make ends meet.
But then the other argument is, what are these other things that you're talking about? Because as much as I hear you, inflation also means disposable income for a lot of people is even lower.
Right.
In fact, the middle class is almost thinned out on a lot of fronts because nobody has, the cinemas are feeling it. Right. The malls are feeling it. And this is what disposable income would do, where people are able to just buy things or enjoy leisure, occasionally. So what am I supposed to do now if I don't even have a customer or customers who are willing to pay anything for these other hobbies or side hustles as much as they would in the past?
So I tell people that money gravitates towards value. Where there's value, there'll be money. So it's not just about what you love to do or what you know how to do. You have to consider what people really want. In a time like this, what are some of the things that people want? People must eat, right? Internet, data, school fees. So you have to look at your talents and your hobbies and sort of, wire them around what people will need. For example, I'm a finance coach. These days, everybody wants to know how to channel their finances better. So low-hanging fruit for me are short courses, right? Worksheets, templates that can help people maximize their resources. Of course, I also cater to high net worth individuals, middle class. You've got to structure your income making abilities to cut across different, income cadres in the society. So if you know how to cook, how to bake, it might be a good time for you to money. I'll give you an example. There was a time I was consulting for a company, and I will pack my lunch to work every day. So apart from the consulting job, during the day, we'll feel peckish, and we kept complaining, oh, I'm hungry. If I eat my lunch at 11 o'clock, what am I going to eat later in the day? So one day, as I was driving home, I just saw a shop where they were selling pastries. And then I packed, and I'm like, tomorrow, I'm going to get some pastries off you, and I'm going to resell. Is that fine? Would you give me this? I just wanted to test, if it was doable or not. And the next day, I packed pastries to work, gave it to the office assistant. Within 1 hour, we had sold out. So on my way back home, I'm like, I'm not even reselling. I want to learn how to do it. So jokingly in those days, I would say, I'm not just a chartered accountant. I'm a chartered donut maker, egg roll. And I was making money, very good money. So that's a way of identifying what you can do and what can meet the needs of people around you.
Vacuum somewhere.
Right, and then you transmute it to cash.
So I hear you there, but there's no denying the fact that there are some people who are just not built for business. Whether you like it, people are who they are. There are people who just like to work in a structured environment, get their money, go back home and stay, because they are not just built for buying and selling or hustling or figuring things out. So my question now is, in an economy like this, how do you as a salary earner strictly manage resources still? It was hard enough already to be able to manage your resources. We hear a lot of times, by the second week of the month, people are already trying to ask for an advance for the next month because of how thin the resources are now. So if you are that kind of person who cannot or are not built to be a business or entrepreneur, how do you manage resources in an economy like this?
Right, so to maximize your resources, you're either increasing your income or reducing your expenses. To a large extent, what expenses do you want to reduce?
Yeah.
Your children won't wake up one day and say, no, Daddy, you have been fantastic. We're not going to go hungry in the next 2 days. And their proprietor, their head teacher won't say, oh, 2 of your children have come to this school. This next child, don't pay. And your landlord won't say, you have been a good tenant for 10 years. Take 1 year off. So it's hard, or it's harder to reduce expenses. I think it's easier to increase income. But having said that, while you're trying to sort of navigate how to increase your income, how do you manage your resources? Budget, plan, interact with your finances. Ebuka, one thing I have seen is a lot of people shy away from talking or thinking about their resources. Money sort of agitates us. And Francis Bacon says money is an excellent servant, but a bad leader. So you cannot allow your money to lead you. You've got to direct it.
Okay, we'll take a quick break now and come back and continue with the conversation. Please don't go away.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
So interact with your finances. What does it cost to even maintain my family? That's what you call a budget. What are we going to pay for? So have an idea. If your total expenses for the month is about 200,000 and you're earning 150,000, you already know where the problem is. So you're either also upskilling to make more money, or you are cutting down. But like I said, it's hard to cut down. But work and live within your means. Manage your expenses. Prioritize. There are some things that you don't need to be advised to cut down on. But again, I tell people, you only live once. Right? Everybody takes from you. You've got to take care of yourself. So 50, 30, 20% rule is what I teach. 50% of your income should go into your necessities. I say 30 should go into your savings, 20 into your wants that you would need.
Is it possible to save in this economy?
Ebuka, saving is not, what's the word now? It's not something.
Circumstance driven.
No, you've got to build the muscles. So I tell people it's not about the amount, but the consistency. If you are waiting till when you have so much, you won't save. So if you're earning 200,000, 10,000, 20,000 per month, just put it aside, because rainy days will come. So when you build,
these are the rainy days.
Oh yeah,
for a lot of people.
But then there's still rainy. There's still rainier days or more rainy days ahead. Winter will come. Yeah, you live in Nigeria, but winter will come. Emergencies will happen. Life happens all the time. Your children won't tell you when they're going to have a fever. Your car won't tell you next week I'm going to break down. So you've got to prepare. And so no matter how hard it is, you've got to factor in savings. It's hard to say, but if you don't do it, you will find yourself borrowing when these things happen. So no matter how small, 10%, just lock it aside, put it somewhere so that when these things happen. But the good thing I have learned in my journey is that when you build that muscles, when you're consistent with putting money aside, it gets easier. more resources flow to you. You know, when it comes to money, we're stewards, we're custodians. You do better, you do well with small, more will come. You do well with it, more will come, more will come. I mean, ask those who have built wealth. It's a journey, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, so prioritize your necessities, things that you necessarily need to survive, save, and then take care of yourself. I have a friend every month, once she earns her salary, she goes to a restaurant and she will eat. And she would say, you know what, spirit, soul, and body, we have done it again. Oh, this month, oh, well done. Next month, let's do it again, because you've got to take care of yourself. If not, the government wants to take, friends wants to take, service provider will take from you. And at the end of the day, you are 50, you're 60, and you just wonder what you're doing with your money. So again, yeah, the economy is hard, but make it work for yourself. Because there are things outside of your control more than the things within your control.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can tell that in every economy, good or bad, there's certain industries that would always still sort of thrive. Now, tech seems to be that place where, you know, people are, regardless, you're working from home even, you're not even dealing with traffic and all of that, and you're still making a good living. What sort of advice do you want to give people with, like, sort of acquiring skills? If it's sort of switch industries or align industries, like you said, you could have a job but still have another job online or working from home, or have 3 even. What sort of things should people be thinking about, especially at a time like this where, you know, like you said, multiple income streams are important?
So a few years ago,
sectors.
I realized I had about 10 sources of income. I'm a chartered accountant, I'm a chartered confectioner. You know, I don't do that again, but fine. I build websites, right? I do graphics, I have an online course. You know, you just have to think of how to just diversify your income. So talking about skills, we're driven by, you know, a skill, how do I put it now? The world is driven by what you know, what you can do. If you want to make more money, it's a function of what you can do in addition to what you do. What are you bringing to the table? So I'll tell people upskill. On your current role, upskill. If it's not working, diversify, pivot, right? As a chartered accountant, I can do websites. I can make money from it. You are a booker, we all know there's so many things that you do. That's you diversifying. Another way is to collaborate. For example, I'm a chartered accountant, but personal finance is what I love to do. But, you know, 20 years of chartered accountant experience, I pay a lot of subscriptions to maintain my chartered accountancy across different continents.
Yeah.
I don't do accounting as well, but I have a company with a friend who loves to do accounting. So I bring in the jobs, I tell people about what we do. She executes, we have a small team. End of the month, we share profits. She takes higher, I take something.
So
that
collaborations
is
as well.
business. So that's collaboration. So what can you do? You have access, somebody has time. How do you work together? So business is not necessarily having a brick and mortar structure. It's a coalition of systems, you know, of skills, of resources, other people's money, other people's time, other people's resources. So I'll advise people upskill, right? And the world has become a smaller global community.
Sure.
I'm here in Lagos. Sometimes I facilitate for people in the UK, in Canada, and I get money in their currency. You know, so look for things that you can do. Keep improving on knowledge, right? Yeah. You can achieve the same results at the same knowledge level.
I completely agree, because I think I always talk about this, where I read an article, I think 3-4 years ago, that said 2/3 of the jobs that would exist for our children don't exist today.
Right. That's
to show that so many more vistas are going to be opening. On a final note now, I mean, I always hear the saying that comfort is not a very good teacher. So in a time of boom, you might not necessarily learn a lot of economic lessons because things are just going well. We're going through the thick of things right now in Nigeria, whether it's Naira, whether it's inflation, whether it's just generally the economy. You know, what lessons do you think Nigerians need to learn in this time that, you know, maybe that should become a habit even if things start flourishing again? And do you see us actually learning it? Because when things get good, people sort of switch back. Do you think it's a lesson that you think might be held on?
So I see a lot of people navigating towards financial literacy. Yeah, unfortunately, there have been a lot of investment schemes that have failed as well. So people are more sensitized, you know, regarding their personal finance, which is good. But there are still a lot more people who need to embrace financial literacy, like interact with your figures, like I said, major lesson. Number 2, personal finance is what it is, personal finance. How you run your finance will be different from how I run my finance. Our risk level, our age, our goals are different. So make it personal, seek knowledge, right? And I just want to also encourage Nigerians generally, this time will pass. You know, we had the 2008 recession, things have happened, and this time around, you know, it's peculiar in the sense that it's global. America is affected, Russia is affected, so it's global, it's nothing out of the world. We'll bounce out of it, we'll bounce back, we'll make, you know, good things out of our finances, but hey, don't forget the lessons, right? And that's what we teach our smart stewards. We have an annual summit coming up on the 23rd to the 25th. It's online. We just want to teach people how to maximize their career, business, finance, and personal development in a time like this.
How do we be a part of this?
So my social media page, Instagram, Shola_Adeshaki. The details are there, bio link, you see. Amazing speakers from all around the world. We just want to finish 2022 on a very good note.
Thank you very much. Go and register, be a part of this, and make sure you learn how to handle your finances better. Thanks for always being here. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you.